Doctor Who and the Silurians, the second story of the Third Doctor, is written by Malcolm Hulke and starring Jon Pertwee, Caroline John and Nicholas Courtney. So as Barry Letts took over as the producer, Spearhead from Space was shot in film. The story is first to shoot in Colour Studio and Derek Sherwin taking inspiration from Whoniverse.
There could be an affinity, a union between plant and animal with the ability to destroy.
This is where they first introduce Earth creatures, the Silurians. So the story begins with two men climbing down the underground, and one of them is killed by a creature and the other escaped. So after the Doctor sings and fixed his new motorcar called Bessie, he takes it for a drive with Liz, and I just love seeing this street in 1970. So the Doctor and Liz arrived in the building that's built in a cave and met up with Brigadier, and they seem to be having trouble with power, so the Doctor figures out what's going on, and he also visited Spencer in the hospital after his friend got killed in the cave. His mind seems to be off when he drew on walls and throttling the Doctor. I was like, whoa! At least the Doctor calmed him down, so while the Doctor tries to explain to the Brigadier what he saw, the power is playing up again. Eventually the Doctor puts his sensible clothes on and he goes down to the cave and looks around the cave and sees a dinosaur. The design is fantastic for a low budget series. The dinosaur scene in Doctor Who and the Silurians makes the first use in the show of a technique known as colour separation overlay or chroma key. A primary coloured backdrop is used to key an image from another camera in a similar way to our time's green screen technique. As the Doctor was about to get attacked by a dinosaur, the noise seems to distract it, as the Brigadier wasn't happy that Liz didn't tell him earlier that the Doctor went in the cave. The Doctor came back to tell them about the dinosaur. Obviously Brigadier didn't believe him. As the Doctor, Brigadier and the soldiers went down to the cave, one of the soldiers gets attacked by a dinosaur. He seemed to be alright. Meanwhile there's a Silurian patrolling the field and it's pretty scary. The Doctor and Liz looked at the DNA through the microscope and that's resembling to reptile. Quinn goes to the control room to warn a Silurian that humans are coming. Poor guy in the Bond gets attacked by a claw, which traumatized his wife. So after taking his corpse away, the Doctor and Brigadier asked his wife, who's in shock, and what she saw. The moment they realise that it's still there, Liz gets attacked, so after Liz got attacked, the creature went away. The Doctor, Brigadier and unit soldiers went to see if she's alright. Luckily she's not dead, so the unit soldiers search around the field, so Quinn turned his tracker on, while the Doctor and Brigadier drive in Bessie to find where the noise is coming from. And he seems to be taken away, so after looking at the footprints, Major Baker refusing to stay in hospital, the Doctor questions Quinn and advises him to let him help, but he's having none of it and asks the Doctor to leave. So back in the building where the cave is, the Doctor has a meeting with Brigadier, Dr. Lawrence and the soldiers, and Major Baker came in but ended up getting escorted back to the hospital after demanding an action. So later on the Doctor finds Quinn's dead body and there's a Silurian coming behind him.
Hello. Are you a Silurian?
So the Doctor offers Silurian help but it went away. So later Major Baker tricks Sergeant to knock him out by getting him to take his jacket off. So Sergeant gets in trouble by Brigadier that he should be prepared. So Major Baker goes into the cave and gets captured by a Silurian. So the Doctor plans to investigate the cave and Liz wanted to go with him, so she did. The Doctor found a clever way to open the metal door and found Major Baker in the cave, who tells him that Silurian kept questioning him about the Earth.
The population of the Earth, what weapons we use, what food we eat. Don't you see? They are trying to gather information for an invasion.
I think Jon Pertwee as the Third Doctor is brilliant. I love the action hero vibes in him. Caroline John is Liz Shaw, great character. She's independent and a bit of a rebellious. And I think Nicholas Courtney is great as Brigadier. Peter Miles played Dr. Lawrence, who's in charge of Wenley Moore nuclear research. research facility. Norman Jones plays Major Norman Baker, who's a head of security and really doesn't want to stay in hospital as he wanted action in the cave. Fulton Mackay played John Quinn, who's a deputy and made a contact to Silurian and wants to keep it to himself, but eventually gets killed. Thomasine Heiner played Phyllis Dawson, who's Quinn's assistant at the Wenley Moore Nuclear Research Facility. Paul Darrow as Captain Sam Hawkins, a unit officer. Jeffrey Palmer played Edward Masters, who's Paramount Under Secretary. Ian Talbot played a young technician, Travis. The casts did a great job. I do love the design of Silurians, I thought they're pretty cool. Just like the Sea Devils, they're the reptile prehistoric race who lived on Earth before humans did, and they want it back because it's their planet. Carrie Blyton does a great music, the atmosphere fits in well. So the Doctor and Liz left Major Baker for a bit and they met a dinosaur. So while Travers is dealing with Cyclotron, the Doctor and Liz walks into Dr. Lawrence and Masters' meeting, wanting to speak to Brigadier, and he made it just in time.
I must find the Brigadier.
May I ask who you are?
You may ask. Oh, there you are.
I've only just heard that you were here.
Masters doesn't believe that there's anyone in the caves. Brigadier needed more evidence. The Doctor thought it would be best to make contacts with them on his own, so he did and gets locked up in the cage and about to be killed by Silurians.
I have destroyed them, and now I shall destroy you.
So a Silurian leader stopped him and a couple of Silurians were arguing. Brigadier and his soldiers patrolled in the cave. Liz tells Masters and Miss Dawson that the Doctor met up with Silurians and obviously wasn't happy about it. The Doctor gets Silurian leader to agree to share the planet with humans.
I believe with your advanced technology that you could build cities in parts of the world that man has hitherto completely ignored.
But young Silurian came and said it's their planet.
Decided that it is possible for the two species to live together on this planet. This planet is ours!
As soon as Major Baker got free, he has a fight with Silurians and got away. Brigadier came back in a terrible state as he's lost a lot of his men. Major Baker seems to be infected with virus. Because a lot of Silurians are refusing to share the planet with humans, the Doctor has to make a cure for the disease. So the Doctor came back and warned everyone to keep away from Major Baker. He ended up getting taken to hospital, and Liz tried to tell him not to take him there, but they didn't listen, so the Doctor and Brigadier drove up to hospital and find Major Baker died. Sadly, Silurian and Sergeant Hart gets killed by Silurians. While the Doctor is working on the cure, there was quite a few people in the street got infected, and Brigadier must be frustrated speaking to a couple of telephones at once.
Excuse me, William. Will you hold on, please? Yes, of course, I'll let you know as soon as I get any result that's at all positive. Goodbye.
It reminds me of 1960s Spider-Man cartoon series where J. Jonah Jameson was holding 4 receivers. So after Liz gets asked to leave the Doctor alone, she went to Brigadier and Dr. Lawrence, who got infected and throttled a Brigadier and sadly died. So the Silurians broke into the lab where the Doctor is and stung him. So the Doctor gets taken back to the cave. Brigadier gets informed that there's no further reports. While there's a battle in the cave, the Doctor tried to reason with young Silurian to tell the Doctor that to render the Earth uninhabitable and they need the power from the cyclotron. Sadly they killed Hawkins as he saved the Brigadier. And it's a shame that this guy doesn't get enough credit for it. So later on the Doctor works on the providing power to the dehibernation unit and activate the disperser. As the Silurian are distracted and in the base, the Doctor and Liz drove up the field and there was few explosions. Sadly Brigadier committed genocide and killed all Silurians.
Intelligent alien beings. A whole race of them. He's just wiped them out.
So yeah, this is a great story. It has great atmosphere. What did you think of this story? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.